Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Whew. Little rested well after having a nice bike ride yesterday. Today I want to deal with coveting, jealousy, and envy. I want what's mine. So I kind of come up in Christianity, hearing so many different songs and different messages about wanting what's mine and not somebody else's. And it stuck with me. I don't like to share, or I didn't like to share. I share a little bit, on certain things and stuff, but I don't want what's yours. I don't like, I guess, having what somebody else already done had, that's used or whatever. I don't want that. I want what belongs to me. So when I see other people with stuff, I can be happy for them and not desire that exact thing. I might want something similar for myself, but I don't want what they have, especially not if it requires me to take it from them to get it. No, that's you know, I come up in a situation in youth that people used to take things from me. I didn't feel like I had much, but still they took the little bit that I had. And I never understood it. I'm like, man, I don't really have nothing. you know, from bullies taking my bike, from even relatives taking clothing and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I don't have much. Why do you want to take the little that I do have? It's like I can't have one good thing. And so my mind has just been on coveting and whatever. So I'm going to talk on coveting. All right. Abiyah, thank you for the Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to your people. They're your people, not mine. So I'm thankful for even if the one listens, because you've given me opportunity to speak, but you allow that person to have a desire to want to hear me because they belong to you and not me. Yada Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom. All right, Shankwaya, One Vision Ministry about to get at it. So let's get to this message and let's get to it. All right. Moving towards it. All right. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to start off over here in the Torah. All right. Shemot, which we call Exodus 20. I'm going to start off a little bit before where I'm going, but might as well. You do not steal. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. And here's where I want to land. You do not covet your neighbor's house. Covet. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. I've in the past gave the context of neighbor. It's greater than that. But, when you're dealing with Israel, we were neighbors only to ourselves and not to other people. We definitely wasn't supposed to covet other people's stuff. But let's look up what the secular or the worldly definition for covet is. Covet, yearn to possess or have something. So The biblical definition here, it says Talmud. I got another, I guess, pronunciation that comes, but I'm going to read this one still. It says the imperfect. It says, to desire, take pleasure in. You shouldn't take desire, to have desire of somebody else, will belong to somebody else, especially not that woman. That, come on, that's out of place. Take pleasure in. So let's go over here. See how it said it was Talmud? Over here is Shamad, Kamad. So interesting how they're different. Let's go to the next word. I'm going to deal with the English definition of jealous. Feeling or showing envy. So jealousy and envy, they go together. Feeling or showing envy of someone of their achievements and advantages. Feeling or showing suspicion or of someone's unfaithfulness in a relationship. Fiercely protective or vigilant of one's rights or possession. Now, the biblical narrative says that Yah is jealous, but he don't have no envy. It's not the same. He ain't coveting. If anything, his jealousy is for things that belong to him. Coveting and envy for mankind is more so dealing with us wanting something that does not belong to us, wanting something outside of our realm of possession. Yahuwah owns everything, so it's not the same. And I know that a lot of people try to make biblical jealousy of Yah into a bad thing. No, of course he has a right to be upset when worship that belongs to him is given to something else. It's not the same. Not the same. If my wife was giving attention to some other man, I have a right to have that type of envy or jealousy because that affection belongs to me. She's in covenant with me. Not that I have that problem, though. My wife loves me. And that's something that, maybe I brag on a little bit too much for some, but I'm thankful for it. But let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. All right. Let's deal with the definition of envy as well. Envy, a feeling of discontent, tented, or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions. Notice that someone else's possession. I kind of just alluded to that. Someone else's qualities, someone else or luck. Desire to have a quality, possession, or other desirable attribute belonging to someone else. Notice belonging to someone else. Again, I spoke from the point of Yah. Those things belong to Yah, so he has a right. But this is when it's belonging to someone else. All right. And jealousy in biblical sin is called kinah. Kinah. I want to read a narrative, a biblical story from the Tanakh. I'm going over here to Malachim Aleph, 1 King 20:21. And this is an interesting event for me. It kind of angered me when I read this the first time. Let me read this. And it came to be after these events that Nebuch, the Israelite, had a vineyard which was in Israel, near the palace of Ahab, the sovereign of Shamaron. That's Samaria. So just imagine you own something, but it's by the palace of the king. And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give, he didn't say, I won't purchase. He said, Give me your vineyard, and it shall be a vegetable garden for me, since it adjoins my house. It's right by my house. Man, it's right by my crib. Let me have that land. And let me give you a better vineyard for it. I'm going to give you something else. I'm going to trade you something else that's in a different proximity than what this is. If it's good in his eyes, let me give you its worth in silver. Now he's saying, I'll pay for it, but this vineyard hasn't been in Naboth's family. But let me keep going. And Naboth said to Ahab, Far be it from me by Yahuwah that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you. If anybody has read in the law about inheritance, Yah was serious about inheritance, and it was supposed to stay within the family that the inheritance was given. You go back to Joshua or Yahushua, and you see how serious that is. It's not supposed to be transferred lightly. It's not, no, it's supposed to stay within the family from father to son. And in some scenarios, if there's no son, to the daughters. But even those daughters were supposed to stay within the tribe, in marriage, so that it stayed within the family that inheritance was connected. Far be it from me by Yahuwah that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you. And Ahab went into his house embittered and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Israelite had spoken to him when he said, I do not give you the inheritance of my fathers. This man is coveting this man's land. And he lay down in his bed and turned his face and did not eat food. This king, this grown ace man, is pouting, upset. Let's keep going. And Isabel, we've been taught to say Jezebel, but it's Isabel. This Isabel, his wife, came to him and said to him, Why is your spirit so embittered that you are not eating food? Why are you over here grieving? Why are you over here pouting? And he said to her, Because I spoke to Naboth, the Israelite, and said to him, Give me your vineyard for silver, or if you prefer, I give you another vineyard for it. But he answered, I do not give you my vineyard. This grown ace man is crying and I know I wasn't there, but I'm just listening to this conversation and it sounds like he whining like a little. Hmm. So Isabel, his wife, said to him, Do you not rule over Israel? Like, don't you know who you is? You're the king. Rise up, eat food, and let your heart be glad. Let me give you the vineyard of Nebuchadnezzar the Israelite. She gonna plot. Then she wrote letters in Ahab's name. See, this is something right here that I think a lot of folks need to just slow down and read. Then she wrote letters in Ahab's name. Name. She wrote letters in his name, in his authority. She wrote, it's not him that's doing it, it's her. But what did she use? His name, his authority. When you do something in someone's name, you're using their authority. It's not that you're actually maybe saying their name, but you're using their authority. People get this whole name thing so tripped up, like a name is magic and stuff. We used to be Jesus, 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 as if that name was just going abracadabra, No. She put a decree out in the authority of the king, not with her authority. As a woman, she ain't had no authority. She's using his authority and sealed it and sealed them with his seal, his mark. Do you know what a seal is? Sometime they would put like some clay down and put a stamp in it, and it would harden, and it would have his imprint, his mark, and sent the letters to the elders and nobles who were dwelling in the city with Naboth. So she's speaking through his authority. They don't know that she got nothing to do with it because they see his mark, they see his seal. And she wrote in a letter saying, proclaim a fast and seat Naboth at the head of the people, and seat two men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him. Bear false witness, put a lie on this man, saying, you have blasphemed Elohim and the sovereign. Then you shall take him out and stone him to death. Boy, it's a major, major offense to Yah. If it lie on this man in the name of or the authority of Yah and the sovereign and stone him to death for some land that's coveted. I don't even have to read no more because they went forth and they did it. Because the king's authority was all on it, and so it happened. Boy, let me see. I'm going to skip past that and go to another story. Let me, I'm gonna come up out of this a little bit. I'm gonna just give some, I'm gonna talk about this a little bit. Moses. This man raised up in the house of Pharaoh, not amongst his people. So his relationship with his people was non-existent while he was in Egypt. He didn't really have close relationship with them. All along, his older brother and his older sister, right there amongst the people, Aaron and Miriam. New people know them. So 40 years in Pharaoh's house, basically. Some stuff jump off and he ended up 40 years in the wilderness. So this 80 years, these people got relationship with Aaron and Miriam. But yet Yah sent him, Moses, to be lead over these people. Just think about it. Aaron, the older of all three. So he got 80 years with these people, and so he got a level of influence. He has to. And now you're going to come from out of the wilderness and out of Pharaoh's house and be set over all the people. They got to listen to you. When I know these people. And see, Moses considered all that. That's why he said, I can't do this. His tongue spoke Egyptian, or Mizraim, the language of that land. He was fluent at that. When did he use his Hebraic tongue other than talking with slaves or other Hebrews that were in the slave position? When did he use it? It wasn't often. Then he's 40 years off into the desert. When is he using it? Because he's in the house of Midian or the Midianites. Jethro's house. When is he using it? Now he don't feel comfortable. He tells the Most High, I ain't comfortable with this. People try to make it like he stuttered and stuff, but if you're speaking a language that's not your native language, a lot of times you're not going to be as fluent with it. So he asked for some help, and who was the help given? His older brother. Everything that he says, he's basically using his brother to be his mouthpiece. That brother could give them partial of what his brothers, what Moses was saying, or make it seem it's coming through him because he got the direct connect. He the plug. Some of this stuff, it's like we just got to step back and just think about it. Why would he not? And think about it. The world, how the world is now. Use, I got a relationship with these folks, and he lead over. You could see that set up for coveting and jealousy to come in and envy. That this dude ain't even been here. You could see that it's probably sometimes that he would manipulate it because remember the whole setup. Moses went up on the mountain to talk with the Most High, and Aaron amongst the people. And what he out there people pleasing, made them a golden calf, something that Yah wanted to destroy him. But of course Moses like, hey, I need him. Aaron real close with the people because he done raised up with them. So he feel like he should have a level of authority with them, and basically sometimes he get to smelling himself. Let's go to reading this. It's a short. I'm only read a short part of it, but just read it. Now this is Bimidbar or Numbers 12. Starting with what's called verse 1. It says, now Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moshe. Because of the Cushite woman. That would be Ethiopian woman. Was it actually an Ethiopian woman? I've went into this narrative before, so I'm not going to go on that rabbit trail. But let's keep going. Because of the Cushite woman whom he had taken, for he had taken a Cushite woman. And they said, has Yahuwah spoken only through Moshe? He spoke through us too. Has he not also spoken through us? And Yahuwah heard it. Man, they over here challenging this man's position, but Moses a humble dude. He ain't tripping. He the one that asked for Aaron's help. But they over here, jockeying for position. I'm like, come on. When you read the other stories around this, you see that it's been people constantly challenging Moses. You know what? One of the people that challenged him, his whole family got sucked up into the ground. But these is his older siblings. He don't want nothing to happen to them. He done saved them multiple times. And let me keep going. And the man Moshe was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. And suddenly Yahuwah said to Moshe and Aaron and Miriam, you three come out of the tent of appointment. And it got an exclamation mark. This don't sound like this was a friendly gesture. So the three came out, and Yahuwah came down in a column of cloud and stood in the door of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam. And they both went forward. And he said, hear now my words. If your prophet is Yahuwah, I make myself known to him in a vision. If your prophet is of Yahuwah, I make myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream. But check it out. Not so with my servant Moshe. He is trustworthy in all my house. I speak with him mouth to mouth and plainly and not in riddles. And he sees the form of Yahuwah. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe? He checking them real quick, but they covered his position. They covered his authority. And the displeasure of Yahuwah burnt against them, and he left. Yah wasn't pleased. And the cloud turned away from above the tent, and look, Miriam was leprous. as white as snow, and Aaron turned toward Miriam and looked, a leper. Now, see, he was upset with both of them, but he dealt with that woman more so than with Aaron. Aaron had to deal with the fact that his sister had been made into a leper, so he got dealt with. But the one that suffered the greatest was the woman. Well, I'm gonna take some liberty here. That woman got done like that because a woman should know her position. Doesn't mean that she does not know something. Doesn't mean that she doesn't have the ability. But she's supposed to help a man. If no man is available, so be it. Be the exception to the rule. But there was a man available, Moshe. There was an assistant to that in Aaron. Aaron challenging the man that's in position, and nothing happened to him. But this woman spoke up and she got turned into a leper. Man, I'm not a woman, so I can't really identify with a lot of stuff, but women are favored to be in the position that they are in, but they don't see it as a, a just reward that Yah's giving them. They have so much favor because they're able to birth in new life. Yah brings forth life, and he's letting women have that privilege of bringing in new life, but they don't see it as a privilege. They see it as a burden. Many of them, not all. They're able to house the image of Yah for 9 months. They don't see it as a privilege. They see it as a burden a lot of times. Wanting that mantle of authority, not realizing that mantle of authority comes with a lot of stress and problems that women should not have to carry. When Aaron was up there messing around making the golden calf and stuff like that, he was supposed to die, but his brother vouched for him. Supposed to be dead. Both of them men didn't even make it into the promised land. Miriam didn't, of course, either. And why? Moses, if we read the story, he made significant steps towards obeying Yah over and over and again. And then the one significant time that it shows that he disobeyed, one time, no promised land. The standard on him was way higher than on anyone else. So much he couldn't even bear it. There wasn't no mercy for him on that situation. None. And the only reason why Aaron got some mercy is because his brother, who Yah was using, spoke up for him. The mantle of a man is not all that women think that, oh, I want that position. Why? It's not meant for you to carry. The responsibility is supposed to be on a man. You go back to Adam and Eve. The woman was the one that presented the fruit to Adam. She had already eaten. But when the Most High came about, when his messenger came about, what did he say? Adam, where are you? Didn't deal with the person that did wrong first. No, it came for the responsible party. He was responsible for Eve. Yeah, Eve got dealt with, or Havah got dealt with. But the responsible party in that situation, the one that was given the directive from the beginning, was man. Going back to the narrative of Ahab. Jezebel put all that stuff in place, but who's the responsible party? The one whose name and seal was used in that. I'm on a little rabbit trail, so I'm gonna get back to it because I'm dealing with this coveting. So let me get back. Let me get back. That was necessary to speak on. All right. And the displeasure of Yahuwah burnt against them, and he left. And the cloud turned away from above the tent, and look, Miriam was leprous, as white as snow. And Aaron turned to Miriam and said, and look, a leper. And Aaron said to Moshe, oh, my master. Now look how humble he is now. Oh, my master. Please do not hold against us the sin in which we have done foolishly and in which we have sinned. At first, they were saying they on level with him, but now, oh my master, please do not let her be as one dead when coming out her mother's womb, with his flesh half consumed. She was turned white. She had to be another color to be turned white or pale, but anyway. And Moshe cried out to Yahuwah, saying, "Oh El, please heal her, please." You know, y'all had to kind of go into a discussion with him, like, basically let it be known that she should at least suffer some shame a little bit. So she had to deal with that leprosy for a minute. But it all came because what? Coveting. But notice she was the only one dealt with. But that's a whole nother narrative though. But Aaron and Miriam was coveting the position that Moses was holding. Let's keep going. I'm not done. I'm not done. Okay. Shemuel, Elah, First Samuel 18. All right. And it came to be when he had ended speaking to Shaul that the being of Jonathan is Shaul's son, was knit to the being of Dawid, and Jonathan loved him as his own being. A lot of people try to mix this up and make it some homosexual stuff. That is not what it is. This man loved this man as his brother. They were tight like that. So tight that he preferred this one he's seen as his brother over his own dad. And Shaul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house anymore. Took Dawid. And Jonathan and Dawid made a covenant because he loved him as his own being. And Jonathan took off the robe that was on him and gave it to Dawid. Jonathan was the heir to the kingdom, but he put his royal robes on Dawid and his garments and even his sword and his bow and his girdle. And Dawid went out wherever Shaul sent him. He went wherever the king, he was a loyal subject to the king. He acted wisely, and Shaul set him over the men of battle, and it was right in the eyes of all the people, and also in the eyes of Shaul's servants. And it came to be, as they came in, as Dawid was returning from striking the Philistines, that the women came out from all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet Shaul the sovereign with tambourines, with joy, and with musical instruments. And the women sang and they danced and said, Shaul struck his thousands and Dawid his 10,000s. Look at that. His 1,000 and his 10,000. Man. Mm-mm-mm. That's a great distinction. That's multiples greater. Man. Mm-mm-mm. And Shaul was raw, was very wroth. This man got angry. He like, man, that envy and that jealousy raising up. I'm king. And you acknowledging my servant, this one that I brought into my house, and giving him more reverence than me. I'm king. Man, these earthly kings is a mess. People in leads are a mess. because it's supposed to be Yah's authority, but folks get into their own heads. I see this within in Israel when it comes to these mores, when it comes to these leaders of assemblies and stuff like that. When they puff themselves up, especially if someone that they see is beneath them is getting more acknowledgement than them, they get wroth. That envy and that jealousy come in, and they gotta do something about it. They gotta take a little bit of shine off that person or whatever. Oh, he ain't nothing. But let me go. And this matter was evil in his eyes. And he said to Dawid, they have given 10,000, and to me they have given thousands. So what more for him except the rain? He like, they gonna give him my kingdom next? No, y'all end up giving that kingdom because you ain't want to operate right. David wasn't your opposition. He wasn't your ops, but you made him your ops because you was envious and jealous. You coveted that attention that he was getting at that moment because you like, I'm the king. I'm supposed, hey, people supposed to reverence me. Excuse me. Supposed to acknowledge me. I used to see this all the time in Christianity, in a sense. Man, we have a guest minister up speaking, and he'd be speaking so well. And then the minister, the pastor of the house had to get up after him, and it's like, man, they cheering and clapping, and he had to do a small little sermon after that person to get that attention back on him because he'd be so you like, man, that is so petty. That man done taught a good word, and now you got to come up and follow him up and hold us here another hour because you got to get the shine back on you because this is my house. All right. And from that day, Shaul eyed Dawid. Yeah, he was watching him. He was coveting. He was desiring. He was envious. And it came to be on the next day that an evil spirit from Elohim came upon Shaul, and he prophesied inside the house while David was playing the lyre with his hands as usual, and the spear was in his hand in the hand of Shaul. Man, this is the moment when he's just started trying to kill David. But I'm gonna move from that. Let's move. Let's deal with David. He ain't innocent. He covered it too. So let's go. Shemuel bet 2 Samuel 11. And it came to be at the turn of the year, at the time sovereigns go out to battle. Kings used to go out to battle with their people, especially in Israel. That David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem. He chilling at the crib. Now, let me stop this for a second. I'm gonna give a dynamic. A king in his kingdom. We dealt with Ahab and Isabel and how that man had the land right next to the palace. So this is the palace set up. We're dealing with David now, not, because the Ahab situation happened after David, but still, you got to think in a kingdom, this man knows the layout of his kingdom. What houses? He probably the one gave them out. He probably put people, because the levels of protection for the king is to have his most loyal men living close to him so that they can protect him. When David was under Shaul, he had these mighty men that went with him. That he did all of this stuff when he was basically when Saul got his 1,000 and he got his 10,000, he had mighty men with him to get them 10,000. So in his kingdom, it's very likely the layout he had his people close to him, and he knew where they stayed. So let's go back. Let's continue. All right. And it came to be at evening that Dawid rose up from his bed and walked about on the roof of the sovereign's house. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very good to look at. He like, Funny thing, the woman was bathing. Her name is Bath Sheba. She's in the bath. Anyway. And Dawid sent and asked about the woman. And one said, is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? Uriah the Hittite was one of David's trusted men when he was out there getting his 10,000. He knew he put that man in that house. He knew who that man was. Of course. That was one of his dudes. Probably didn't. I ain't gonna say he knew the wife, but he looking at this man's wife. He like, oh, she good to look at. They telling him who this woman is. This man already got wives at this time. Y'all done allowed him to have multiple wives at this time. He should be out at war, but he on this roof chilling, and he like, ooh, and that look good to me. They done told him who she is. He know he ain't got no rights to her. That's another man's wife. That's adultery right there. He already know. They done told him. That's Uriah's wife. But know what? This dude not only covets looking, no, he like, go get her. And Dawid sent messengers to fetch her. And she came to him, and he lay with her. I ain't gonna even say he forced himself on her. That's the king. Man, she ain't finna fight and argue with the king. I'm just with one of his soldiers. That's the king. That man used all his influence, all his position, and he lay with her. For she was cleansing herself from her uncleanliness, and she returned to her house. Some foul stuff right here. From the king. Man, only king I have is Yahuwah. Men ain't about nothing. Yeah, you can trust them one moment, but they will fail you. Because flesh is flesh. And the woman conceived and sent and informed Dawid and said, I am pregnant. My husband been out at war all this time, man. Come on. I ain't. She cleansed herself from her cleanliness. Most likely she was finishing up her period, her menstrual. So guess what? She was ready for conception. She had just come off her period. That clock that the women they talk about. Yes, come on. He got her at the right time, right when she was ovulating and stuff like that. Come on, husband ain't even there. He at war. He had to have her. He coveted. He already got women, bunch of women, and he could have any woman that ain't married, but that's his boy's wife. They tell him that's Uriah's wife. So that's my boy. I'm gonna get it. Come on now. Any of us can be open to be coveters or coveting, envying somebody else. This man, the king, this dude, Uriah, worked for him. He got wives. Uriah got one. But he got to take that one. Come on. People they put it in their mind that people who have a lot don't have a reason to covet. A lot of times, them be the ones that covet the most. I ain't got that. I want that. Got all this other stuff, but I want that. Coveting is a sin. It's a transgression of the law. It's going against Torah. Right now, anybody that's listening to this, tend to your own yard. Stop worrying about the neighbor's yard being, the grass is greener. If anything, go ask him, oh, what you doing to make your grass so green? He might assist you in helping you get yours up to par. But don't damage his, don't desire his. I'm gonna buy that man house, because you likely ain't gonna do what's necessary to keep it the way he got it. Find out how, it's nothing wrong with asking somebody, how did you do that? Rather than trying to take or destroy what they doing or whatever. Man, come on, we got to do better. I don't covet nobody's position. I really don't. It's a lot being me. I'm a lot to deal with for myself. So I know I'm a lot to deal with for other folks. I got a beautiful thing. My sunshine ooh, man, I was on cloud nine just walking around with a beautiful woman yesterday, riding my bike with a beautiful woman. My wife. I was on cloud nine. You would thought I was on drugs or something like that. I was. I was on her. I was feeling good. You know. I tell y'all when I have my depressed moments. Why won't I tell y'all when I have my good moments? I was having a good day. I was chilling. We chilled. I don't covet nobody else's position. I want what's me. I want what's for me. You got to get yours. I got to get mine. I'm thankful that y'all has favored me to give me this 23 years and of marriage and stuff like that. I've been through some heck, and I always share that stuff like that. And people, oh, you always talk about. Well, I talk about the good things too. Y'all just ignore the good things. Y'all don't. Come on. When I shared about the pizza and all this good stuff, I share about so much good stuff too. I share about the good stuff, I believe, more than the bad stuff, but people only remember the bad. It's all right, though. I thank y'all, though. I don't need what somebody else has because I got more than I deserve already. I believe that. I'm okay with that. I got more than I deserve. I didn't expect to be past 18. Then dang sure not past 21, and I'm 54 years old. I'm on a bonus level. So I'm good. I thank you for the Shabbat. I thank you for the opportunity to speak for your people. My numbers are low, and I'm good with that. I don't covet the numbers of others. I just want your will to be done on earth as it is in the Shamayim. Let me be a light to some, even if it be one. I thank you for that one. I appreciate you, Yah. I love you, Yah. And I enjoy your days of rest. They be coming on time to be able to just sit and chill with my wife under our gazebo or just in our house. I appreciate the Shabbat, Yah. And I thank you that all those that are listening may have been edified today. Let your will be done on earth as in the Shamayim. Shanquil Yah, Shanquilla Carter, One Vision Ministry, Ikai, Chaz, and Sheriff. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.